Hello again, everyone. For those of you that do not know me, my name is Mike Bernache, and I'm a business analytics coach with Lodestar Solutions. I'm also the co-host of this quarterly virtual user group. Certainly hope that you have enjoyed them. I think we're going on almost year 2 of the user group, so we're excited about the fact that we continue to grow them and provide great information. So again, thank you so much for joining us today, and we are very excited to bring you really tons of cool information today. Many of you may not know that IBM is about to release a new version of Cognos BI, which is 10.2.2. This upgrade is available starting November 21st, which is tomorrow. So that's really exciting. Partners have been able to access this version for a few weeks now. So I've been lucky enough to get in and play a little bit, and fortunately I'm able to bring you some of the new items in this presentation. Our agenda for today starts with the main focus and themes of this new release. I will go into a little detail on the new items, and you can see on the agenda what we're going to talk about. I will summarize everything we have covered, and I have a few minutes at the end for questions. So speaking of questions, please type your questions into the question box, and I will answer as many as I can at the end of the presentation. I only have 30 minutes today, and I will use most of it covering the new features. If I do not get to your questions, I will answer them via email soon after the user group ends. Lastly, I just want to give this disclaimer. I did my best to give you info on as many of the new features as possible, and because of that, I may have missed a few, or I may not have all of the info related to the new feature. I do, however, promise to spend more time with the new release once I can download and install and provide updates via our blogs area on lodestarsolutions.com. So real quick, if you're not familiar, on our website we have a great area of blogs. We write many blogs a year, typically a couple a week, sometimes more. You can find great information, tips and tricks, features on new releases, some software agnostic type things. So just lots of great information that you can check out. So please do check that out. And if you have not given us your name and email address via our registration area on our website, please do that, and we'll make sure that we give you lots of cool updates as we move forward into the coming years. So the focus of this new release of 10.2.2 has 3 different areas, really. Help for you IT folks and admins have been included in this release, as well as a new way to deploy BI quickly. There are a number of efficiencies added to the report creation process and authoring, which personally I'm very excited about. Last, there are some personalization features which I'm sure will excite a lot of you. So there's some neat things that are in this release. So the first one we're going to talk about is Quick Setup. So Quick Setup is a new feature that helps you get the BI system set up quickly without having to touch databases or IIS or any of that internet type stuff. This is great for test and development environments. What it does is it will install a version of DB2 10.5, and it will take care of all those internet settings. And once the install is complete, it launches a browser automatically, and boom, you're looking at a BI splash screen. So if you ask me, this is long overdue. I'm guessing some of you IT folks and admins are probably thinking the same thing. Another new feature is called My Datasets. So some of you may have used the import external data feature in previous versions of Cognos. What that was is you could import certain things and map them to your existing package and use that as a data source. So in this new feature, it allows you to create and share your own data without any IT involvement. So this differs from the old feature in 3 ways. Bigger volumes of data can be imported. The data stays on the server as long as needed. And 3, a standalone package is created instead of expanding the existing package. So those of you who have played with Cognos Insight, if you haven't, please do. You can get that on Analytics Zone. But those of you who have played with Cognos Insight will find the process of importing data very similar. It's wizard-based, and it's really easy to do. So as you can see here on this slide, You have a number of different options to be able to bring in data. You got XLS and XLSX, so different Excel-based files. There's comma delimited and tab delimited, pipe delimited. So as I said, it's very similar to Cognos Insight. And what I showed you here in this little screen print is that how you basically can go in, you set the attributes, you set the facts, and boom, you've got your data source created. So really neat feature with the My Data Sets. So for you administrators out there, don't worry. There's an area where you can, administer these data sets. So data sets for administrators gives the admin the option to configure and control access to the My Data Sets feature. You can change things such as owner, tenant. You can refresh the content, see what size it is, how many rows it includes. So you can also filter inside of here, as you can see on the left, the data sets, so you can easily find what you're looking for. This is also where you can delete things. So if things have been imported that shouldn't be there, you need to just clean it up, you can go ahead and delete them. So there is an area for admins to help administer the data sets feature. A really cool feature in this update that I think is the ability to create custom user profiles. So as you know, you can set up what studios a user can access. But in this update, you can control the element that each user sees, including standard toolbars, toolbox objects, menu bars. There's so many more. As you can see on this screen, it kind of gives you a list of all the different things that you can control on Cognos. So you can control down to the minute detail of not letting somebody create something new. We're getting rid of that button, the copy paste function. So you can take it all the way down to that level. You can also control the default behaviors, including the type of package tree shown by default. So another great feature for admins to limit or to standardize the user experience. In 10.2.2, so IBM had a large focus on accessibility options for those. So this covers a broad base of things. So it covers for those who may have hearing impairment or color blindness, may have some reduced visual capabilities, arthritis, dyslexia, ADD. So there's a number of issues that they've improved that on. In all fairness, I didn't get to spend a whole lot on this area, but what I've read and seen, IBM has, and there's some cool things. There's some text to voice, and there's some really neat things that are in this feature. Templates and style are available in Report Studio and Workspace Advanced. So what IBM did here is, added a shortcut to the splash screen when opening the Studio. So what you can do is create templates from scratch, or choose existing reports and templates, and what happens is templates are created automatically. You can also choose the style from existing reports and import them into your current report. So as you can see here on the right, that I've shown a little screenshot of applying report style references from picking a certain report and applying that to your current report. So for instance, you have objects that you use for dashboard objects that have certain colors and fonts. You can choose to import that style into a new report, and boom, it's updated with whatever you've decided. So this feature I think is awesome. It's called Report Studio Tabbed Output. So you can now set report pages to output as tabs instead of clicking up and down to see the new details. So when you're running you build a report and you've got charts and graphs and crosstabs, and you go to run it into HTML, and all of a sudden all you see is the limited lines on the first page, and you have to page down and page down and page down to get to that last crosstab that you may want to see, or that last graph that you may want to see. So what they've done here is give you the option to output them as tabs. So as you can see in the bottom screenshot, there were 3 pages created, one for a list, one for the chart, one for the crosstab, and it has now created tabs in HTML that you can click on to get to that new version. Also, what's really cool is that when you output to Excel, it creates a new sheet for each tab. So again, I think that's awesome. Just in fairness, the new sheet output is not supported when you have page sections. So page sections may be when you're putting in page breaks or things of that nature. But a really, really overdue feature. Pretty simple, but I think pretty powerful and time-saving. So active reports and visualizations, there's a number of things that have changed here. So one of my favorite new features and a huge, huge time saver. So think about, for those of you who build active reports and you want to test what you're building and you have to hit run and it has to download the MHT file and it takes time and then you open it up and go, oh, I need to change something. You have to continue this process. So the good news is you no longer have to download the MHT file every time you want to check on an active report. Now you click and it serves up an HTML page. It's done all the MHT in the background and boom, you have the page really, really quick. So also, as you can see here, there are some predefined resolutions for mobile, which I think is really, really cool. So for those of you who build for an iPad or certain dimensions, you can click on those and then you can set that output quite quickly. As you can see on this page that there is an active report preview button. So what that does is right within the studio, you can click that preview. And as you can see, I've hit preview and I'm showing you an active report that's actually in its output form. And that's done right in the studio. So what that does is think about how much time that saves. Huge time saver. Also in there, after you've done that, you can make updates to chart titles and fonts and data labels right in Report Studio or Cognos Workspace Advanced. You do not have to go back and forth, which is huge. So a lot of really cool enhancements to active reports from a efficiency standpoint, from a user and authoring standpoint. So also there are a few new visualizations that were actually released in 10.2.1 through FixPack 4, but they are a combination chart, a tornado chart, and a chord chart. So most of you have used a combination chart when you have the bar or column graphs with the lines showing different data points. The tornado chart is a bar chart that can show two opposite moving measures, which I think is pretty cool. And the last chart is a chord chart. So what this does is shows relationships between categories. So one other huge item of note on all the visualizations now is you no longer have to fill in every field in the visualization as you did in previous versions. So if you can remember, you'd have to fill in every blank in a visualization for it to get to render data. You do not have to do that anymore. So another time saver, another great addition. In Cognos Workspace, there's been a couple of new things added. The first is the master filter. So this feature allows the user to allow related widgets on a dashboard to be controlled with a single click. It's a pretty simple process to enable with the master filter button on the widget, as you can see in the screenshot. The filter also works across tabs, which is great. There's also a new filter button. So what this does is allows the user to create custom buttons to filter data on. As you can see, the filter button on the screen shows particular products. So as you can see, there's a golf ball, there's looks like a first aid type product, camping or tents. So you can actually create and import images to your buttons so you could, customize them to whatever your business need is. So if you're selling hammers, you could have different styles of hammers on there. Whatever it might be, you can tailor that so the end user experience is much better. There are a number of Framework Manager updates in this release. So the first is Bridge Query Subject. So this allows the user to create a bridge query to leverage a table to connect common fields from two or more other database tables with the same database. So this is new. There was never a good way to handle bridge tables before. So what this does is help avoid double counting and some of the other issues that may come up. This newest, another feature here is called a filter join. So what the filter join does is help performance by filtering one side of the join using filters by the other side. So in other words, this makes sure that the BI server is just bringing in the data that it needs and not every row. So maybe you have 5 million rows in one database and a very small table in another source. Without the filter join, you're going to bring in all 5 million rows just to use a very few from the other table. So what this does is, it helps slim things down, helps make things faster. And from what I've read, in the Cognos labs, they have improved some reports running hundreds of times faster by using filter joins. There is another feature called parameter map refresh. Okay, so what this feature does is control the frequency of the refresh rate of parameter maps. So you can control from a never refresh to refreshing every second if needed. If you set it above 1, it tells the BI server to only retrieve the parameter map values if that number of seconds has elapsed since the last run. So another time saver and another efficiency option loaded into Framework. A summary query subject allows you to specify grouping and aggregation in the model when it was only available in Report Studio previously. So you can create the desired level of granularity once in the model, and it can be used over and over and over again. So for instance, you can create let's say a top products above 100,000 and create the grouping in FM for use in every report. So what this does is help control the granularity of drag and drop items, helps give that self-service to the end user. So another great feature, which I think is awesome. You don't have to continually redo things in Report Studio or Workspace. You can do them in Framework Manager now, and certainly saves time. So Dynamic Cubes also has a number of updates in this release. So there is now a hardware sizing wizard that allows users to determine how to best configure their infrastructure for best performance. You can do some what if and see new results. So by adding in more users or number of different things on a workspace that's being used, whatever it may be. So what this does is it then gives you info on the memory needed, the number of cores, the caching, all that good stuff. So it helps you size your hardware for better and more efficient results. There's also a user-defined aggregate, so you can use this in lieu of the aggregate advisor. Just another option for more user control. There's also automatic in-memory aggregates. So what this does is it runs a light version of the aggregate advisor periodically and updates to the most current aggregates on the fly. So this really allows the cube to be self-optimizing. So great feature there. So for those of you familiar with Transformer, and you will be near and dear to my heart because it's one of my first and still favorite things in Cognos, but older technology, obviously, there are much better things, but just, sort of, I run down memory lane when I start talking about Transformer. So for those of you familiar with it, you were able to build custom relative time pretty easily. So if you needed a month over month, quarter over quarter, trailing 12 over trailing 12, whatever it might be, you could do that really, really quickly and easily. Great news on this is that now you can do the same things relatively quickly in Dynamic Cubes. So awesome addition for you Transformer folks. Something that might get you to move to Dynamic Cubes. And also on Dynamic Cubes, you can now import framework metadata packages directly into Dynamic Cubes Cube Designer and use it as a basis for modeling Dynamic Cubes. So big win here. You have these FM models that have already been created. Now you can bring those into Dynamic Cubes and utilize that Dynamic Cube infrastructure. So in summary, you have install options for quick setup. Great for you admins and folks who want to get a dev system up and running. Release date is November 21st. That is tomorrow. There's a lot of different self-service enhancements through My Data, the user profiles, accessibility, easier report builds. So for you report builders and authors, we went through all the different efficiencies that were added through active reports and visualizations and things of that nature. It's a number of framework manager improvements, and also Dynamic Cubes, number of enhancements, especially the custom dates as in Transformers. So that is going to wrap up my presentation for the day. I hope that you have enjoyed it. I hope that you're excited about the new release coming tomorrow. As I said, I will now take questions. I'll read through them and answer as many as I can in the time allotted. If I don't get to it, please know that I will I will email you the answers that you're looking for. I may or may not know them depending on how involved it is. As I said, I haven't had a whole lot of time to play, just enough to be able to bring you guys some information, and hopefully it excites you, and you want to upgrade to 10.2.2. And with that, I will answer questions. Thank you.